The story opens with an ominous unanswered phone call followed by a car passing and a train crossing a bridge, setting a mood of mystery and urgency. Vishvak, a police detective, is introduced as the head of the cold case unit tasked with solving seemingly unsolvable cases. His first mission is to investigate a new lead related to a cold case. He's given a picture and details, but frustrated by a lack of progress on past cases, he insists he can only focus on one. Meanwhile, a man named Satya is at home with his partner Shravs. They are preparing for his mother's birthday. Satya receives a text about his physical examination report being mailed to him, and he tells Shravs that they should discuss it later. The next day, Vishvak gets all the details on a missing hairstylist named Akhil Arya. He instructs his subordinate Mani to gather comprehensive information on the man's life to find a pattern. He's determined to crack the case, feeling it shouldn't remain a cold case forever. The narrative shifts to Satya, who is driving in a freezing valley. His car breaks down and he's helped by a kind man named Lokanath, or Loki, who invites him into his home. Satya notices a striking butterfly object on the wall, which Loki says is part of his collection of memories. Loki's house feels welcoming and warm, and Satya is grateful for the help. After Satya leaves, he tells Shravs about the man Loki and how kind he was. Shravs is concerned about Satya's whereabouts and suggests it's a recurrence of his past drug use. Satya denies this, insisting that they visit Loki again to thank him with plants from their nursery, but Shravs doesn't believe him. The two decide to have a movie night to de-escalate the tension. Later, Shravs reports Satya missing. She tells Vishvak and Mani about her husband's strange behavior that night, particularly his obsession with finding a house that wasn't there and his fixation on the butterfly object. Shravs is distraught and feels Satya was lying to her. Vishvak and Mani go to the empty plot of land where Satya insisted the house was located. They find a small butterfly object identical to the one Satya described, confirming his story. Shravs is horrified, realizing that Satya was not lying and might be in danger. Vishvak's team discovers a pattern in the cold cases. All the victims, including Satya, were orphans. This lead seems promising, and they decide to use an orphan from the same foundation as a decoy. Vishvak sends his colleague Mani and a young orphan to the empty plot of land where Satya disappeared. The boy senses something unusually fine and then hears a hovering sound and a warning to get out. Mani, hearing a similar sound, raises his gun and orders the unseen person to freeze. He and the boy return safely, but Mani is convinced they're on the wrong track. Vishvak, however, reveals that the lack of leads is the lead itself. He explains that all the missing people had a rare blood type, the golden blood, or Rh-null. This discovery connects all the cold cases and explains the disappearances. Vishvak realizes that the case isn't about orphans but about people with this specific blood type. He gets a restriction order to prevent others from getting involved, and he sets a plan in motion. He calls a woman named Savi and tells her to meet him at his office. When she arrives, he reveals the truth about Satya and the other victims. He explains that he also has the same rare blood type, a detail he knows from his own medical report. Vishvak, a cold case detective, becomes entangled in a series of mysterious disappearances after a man named Satya goes missing. The story opens with Satya's car breaking down on a cold night, leading him to accept help from a kind man named Loki. Satya is deeply impressed by Loki's hospitality and a beautiful butterfly artifact he sees in his home. The next day, Satya disappears after returning to the same spot, which is now just an empty plot of land. His partner Shravs is distraught and reports him missing. Vishvak and his team discover a crucial clue, a butterfly object identical to the one Satya described. They realize Satya's story was true and he likely returned to the location only to vanish. As they dig deeper, they find a chilling pattern. All the missing persons, including a truck driver, a surgeon, a student, and a hairstylist, were not only connected to the same foundation but also had a rare blood type known as Rh-null, or golden blood. This realization transforms the case from a simple missing persons investigation into a targeted series of abductions. Vishvak understands that the kidnapper is a collector of rare blood and his next victim could be anyone with the same blood type. Vishvak, who also has Rh-null blood, realizes he is a potential target. He uses his own vulnerability as a trap, orchestrating a controlled encounter with the kidnapper. He arranges for his car to break down in the same valley. A woman approaches him offering help, but Vishvak is on to her. He notices her suspicious behavior and instead of accepting her invitation, he offers her a car battery and sends her on her way. By confronting the suspect on his own terms and avoiding the trap, Vishvak not only solves the case but also saves himself. The movie ends with the hope that the kidnapper will be apprehended and that the disappearances will finally stop. Vishvak, a cold case detective, is assigned a new case after a man named Satya goes missing. Satya's partner Shravs tells Vishvak about a strange encounter Satya had just before he vanished. Satya's car had broken down and a kind older man, Loki, had helped him. Satya told Shravs that Loki's house was filled with artifacts and he was particularly drawn to a butterfly object. Shravs explains that Satya later disappeared after returning to the same spot, which mysteriously became an empty plot of land. Determined to find Satya, Vishvak interviews a woman who helped him and provides a sketch of the grumpy-looking suspect Loki. Simultaneously, Vishvak's subordinate Mani investigates county records and finds that a house had indeed existed on that plot long ago. He also finds an old acquaintance from the community who sheds light on the property's history. The acquaintance reveals that the house was a mahal that burned down in a fire and its owner was a lonely boy who was a butterfly collector. The boy fed his butterflies a strange concoction of blood and wine and was consumed by his obsession, leading to the fire that destroyed the mahal. This information gives Vishvak a breakthrough. He realizes that Loki, the boy from the mahal, is a rare blood type, Rh collector. The victims aren't just orphans, they are people with the same blood type as Loki, who he sees as his family. He believes he is turning them into butterflies through a process of metamorphosis. The victims who drank Loki's tea were trapped in a state of hibernation, making them susceptible to his control. Satya, having a rare blood type and having accepted Loki's tea, was a new lead in this horrifying game. Vishvak hatches a plan to rescue Satya. He, along with his partner Mani and a police officer, are among the few who share the same rare blood type. Vishvak knows he has to confront Loki on his own. He stages a car breakdown in the valley just as the previous victims had experienced. Loki appears and Vishvak plays along but refuses the tea, making it clear he is a threat. Loki, realizing Vishvak is a copper, a type of butterfly, tries to take him, but Vishvak manages to free Satya and get away. In a final confrontation, Vishvak's team descends on the location and Satya is saved. He is reunited with his partner Shravs and the case is closed. But a few mysteries remain. Mani confronts Vishvak about how he knew what to do. Vishvak reveals that he was following both Mani and the other police officer Mara to ensure their safety. He also reveals that the tea was the key. Loki used it to trap people with the same blood type. Mara, who also has the rare blood type, was able to escape because she never drank the tea. Vishvak concludes that if you ever find yourself in Loki's nest, the most important thing to remember is to never ever sip the tea. After successfully rescuing Satya, Vishvak and his team work to piece together the final details of the case. They confirm that Loki, whose real name is Lokanath, was the lonely boy from the mahal. He had survived the fire that destroyed his family's home and his beloved butterfly farm, only to emerge with a warped obsession. Believing himself to be a phoenix rising from the ashes, he sought to create a new family from those who shared his rare Rh blood type. The butterfly was a recurring motif. In his madness, he saw his victims as coppers and skippers, different classifications of butterflies he was nurturing. He would lure them into his home where they would unknowingly consume the tea he prepared, which acted as a sedative or a truth serum, making them more pliable and susceptible to his influence. Mani, still puzzled, asks Vishvak why he was followed and not Mara, since both of them are detectives and could have been targets. Vishvak explains that he was the one following Mani to ensure he didn't uncover anything Loki would perceive as a threat to his nest, and that he was also following Mara for the same reason. He reveals that Mara's survival was a happy accident. She had refused the tea, breaking the chain of Loki's control. Vishvak's success was not just a result of his sharp detective work but also his deep understanding of the human psyche, a trait he shared with Loki. The final scene shows a sense of closure as the mystery of the missing people is solved and Loki's reign of terror is over. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.